My name is Ethan, and I'm 36 years old. I've never told this story publicly before, not because I forgot it, but because forgetting was never an option. Some experiences don't fade with time. They just sit in the back of your mind, waiting for the quiet moments to remind you they're still there. What happened to me didn't feel like bad luck. It felt deliberate. I was spending a winter weekend alone at my cabin-style house on the edge of town. It wasn't isolated in the middle of nowhere, but it might as well have been. Other houses existed, sure, but they were spaced far enough apart that you could go days without seeing another person. No neighbors waving, no kids playing, no traffic. People drove past the area without thinking twice. Unless you slowed down and actually looked, all you saw was an endless wall of trees. It had snowed heavily the night before. The kind of snow that swallows sound. Everything felt muted, still, almost staged. A thick blanket covered the ground, the roof, the driveway, everything. And the woods behind my house looked darker than usual. Deeper, like they went on forever. I didn't mind being alone out there. That was the point of the place. The house was warm and inviting. Big windows, a stone fireplace, exposed wood beams. It had that perfect cabin feel. Cozy during the day, quiet at night. Too quiet. The first night was normal, or at least it felt normal at the time. I stayed up late in the living room watching YouTube, half asleep on the couch. Around midnight, I shut everything off and headed to bed. The house was a single story, with my bedroom at the far end of the hallway. That bedroom had one feature I never fully got used to. The entire wall facing the woods was glass, floor-to-ceiling windows, a sliding glass door. Nothing but a thin pane separating me from the forest. During the day, it was beautiful. At night, it felt like exposure. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection in the glass, and my heart would jump, thinking someone was standing outside. I always laughed it off, until that night. I turned off the lights and climbed into bed. That's when I heard it. A soft, cracking sound. Not a branch falling, not an animal scurrying. It sounded like a footstep. A few seconds passed, then another crack. I sat up, suddenly wide awake, and stared toward the window. With the lights off, I could see clearly into the trees. Moonlight reflected off the snow, illuminating the forest just enough. I watched. 30 seconds, maybe longer. Then I saw movement. Not a clear shape, just a shift in the darkness between two pine trees, like someone leaning forward or pulling back out of sight. Everything went still again. No more sounds, no movement. I told myself it was nothing, my imagination filling in the blanks. Still, I got up and checked the sliding door. Locked. I went back to bed. Sleep didn't come easily. Every few seconds, I felt the urge to open my eyes and check the window again. The next day passed without anything obvious happening, but something felt wrong. It wasn't fear, it was awareness. That subtle, crawling sensation you get when you feel watched, even when there's nothing to prove it. I kept glancing at windows, mirrors, reflections, always expecting to see something. Night fell again, and snow started coming down. That actually eased my nerves a little. It felt unlikely anyone would be outside in that weather. Around 10 p.m., I was back in the living room, wrapped in a blanket by the fireplace, watching TV. The glow from the screen lit most of the house. I got up to grab a soda. That's when I noticed the den light was off. I was sure I'd left it on. I always did. It made the house feel less hollow. I flipped it back on and didn't think much of it. I sat back down, unpaused the TV. About a minute later, I glanced over my shoulder. The light was off again. My chest tightened. I walked down the hallway and stopped when I saw the switch. It was physically flipped down. That wasn't a mistake. Someone had done that. And suddenly it hit me. It didn't feel random. It felt intentional. Like whoever was inside wanted me to come closer. I backed away. My phone was in my bedroom. My car keys were by the front door. I needed both. I moved quietly down the other hallway toward my room. That's when I saw movement behind the glass, footprints in the snow, fresh. They led straight to the window, and standing there just a few feet away was a tall figure, a man. His face was hidden by darkness, but I knew he was staring directly at me. I didn't think. I ran. I grabbed my phone, sprinted to the front door, snatched my keys, and I heard footsteps. More than one set. I burst outside, ran to my car, and as I got in, I saw him come charging around the corner of the house. I started the engine and floored it. In my rearview mirror, I saw him standing where my car had been moments before, watching me disappear. Police arrived about 30 minutes later. What they found was worse than anything I imagined. Multiple windows shattered, furniture overturned, cabinets ripped from the walls. It looked like rage or desperation. I stayed in a hotel for weeks afterward. I sold the house. But this wasn't the first time someone had been inside my home. 2 years earlier, after a divorce, I'd been living alone in a massive house. Too big, too empty, entire rooms untouched for months. Loneliness eventually pushed me to adopt a dog. Her name was Piper. From the moment she entered the house, she was afraid, watching doorways, barking at empty rooms, freezing in place like something unseen had her attention. One night, I woke up to find her standing at my bedroom door, staring into the hallway. Another day, she barked nonstop at a blank wall. Then she disappeared. I found her shaking in the corner of an empty room. When I turned around, I saw someone watching us from the hallway. I locked us inside the room. Footsteps came to the door, then slowly walked away. Police later found evidence someone had been living inside my house, sleeping in a closet near my office. For months, listening, watching. Piper had known the whole time. I live somewhere smaller now, safer. Piper has never acted afraid again, but I still dream about dark hallways, lights turning off, and the feeling of someone standing just out of sight, waiting.